Igive is a program that the company gives $1,000 to every employee for them to contribute to any 501c3 Colorado nonprofit that's not political and not religious. The idea for this Igive program, I think, is really unusual. I've not heard of one in Denver ever happening in this particular way. And I'm hopeful that all the people of the organization who get together and collaborate, either in small groups or larger groups, can really have the impact of energizing the whole community to begin to think about doing things like this. It does make a difference.
I chose DDRC, which is the Developmental Disabilities Resource Center.
This year I decided to give my money to Safe Harbor Lab Rescue.
I got quite excited when my co-workers, quite a few, came up to me and wanted to ask if I could take part in the combination of the funds towards HALO.
The HALO Foundation supports children in need around the world. It's always the kids that are in the greatest need. Internationally, we support 11 orphanages for kids who were once living on the streets, and we provide everything from food, water, shelter, clothing, education, art, therapy, caretakers.
The reason I decided to give my $1,000 to the HALO Foundation was because one day I was out to lunch with Bruce, and he's always talking about his wife donating her time at the HALO Foundation.
And we looked it up, and we discovered it was really a really worthwhile organization. And I started telling some internal people I work with, and it just kind of caught fire. As soon as you said children and they were in need, everybody wanted to get on board and donate.
When I heard all the great things that they do for the children, all the assistance that they give the kids between their homework and the warm meals, those types of things, everybody deserves a little help.
So we've seen marked improvement in their schoolwork through their teachers by communicating with their teachers, and then they get to experience different workshops that they would never have been exposed to if we weren't able to provide these programs for them.
The kids who come to the HALO Center in Denver are some of the neediest kids in the community. Some of them don't have electricity and haven't had it for months in their home. Others don't get meals every day. So we really strive to help them have a safe place to come, but also a place where they can be fed and take meals home for the weekend so that we can make sure that their basic needs are met when they're not here at the center.
I don't know, anytime anyone talks to me about children and helping them out, I felt that was the best way to use our money, was to put it towards the children.
Because children are our future, and I think that is very important. And if we could start young with our children, again, that's our future, and we will be successful.
And I heard what they did for children with needs and things like that, and I just found that it was where I wanted my money to go.
The grant from Delta Dental will make such an impact on the kids that we support. We are constantly looking for funding for things that we want to do, but we just don't have the ability to be able to offer it to the kids.
Our overhead is so low, all of our funds, donated funds, go directly to our program to benefit the kids, to expand what we currently offer them and just continue and provide us sustainability.
And we're just so grateful. I can't even express how huge of an impact this will make on not only the kids who are here right now in our program, but kids who will come in the future. So thank you.
The overall picture I get from this is these kids are really in need, and they are really struggling, and this money will help them immensely. I don't think we'll even know how much good we've done. And to know what what these kids are going to benefit from this amount of money, it just really warms my heart. I'm very happy to have donated to this cause, and I think we've really helped these children out.
I contributed to the WinStar Foundation in Aspen.
I'm going to be contributing my part of the money to Angel Tree.
I chose the Rocky Mountain Feline Rescue, And the reason that I wanted the feline rescue that I wanted to give to them was they are who I found my 2 adoptee cats from.
We're a nonprofit no-kill cat shelter. We deal primarily, well, only with felines. We house abandoned, stray, and owner-relinquished cats.
It was more of a cat environment more so than a human environment. So when you went in to see and view, play with the cats, you played with them in their environment. They could walk away from you if they wanted to, and it wasn't a big deal.
We house our cats in colonies. We're relatively cage-free. The only time a cat is kenneled is when they're initially acclimating to the shelter or if they're needing some sort of medical treatment. Currently, our population of felines right now is 150 cats. That's both adult cats and kittens. That also includes the ones in the feline leukemia FIV room.
It's a no-kill shelter, so they have them possibly for life. If a cat is not picked for adoption, it could be there for life. And that's a long time for a cat. So they need the assistance for medication if a cat would get sick, food, just, the care of a cat. So that's why I wanted to give to them.
Well, we're always thrilled by that because we get donations only. We have no government funding, no tax money, anything like that. So the fact that she was willing to share the joy, if you will, with us, I find that amazing. And we appreciate people's generosity. That's the only way we can keep the doors open. If we weren't here and couldn't take these in as a no-kill facility, unfortunately, I think a lot of them would be euthanized.
I just always have enjoyed having an animal around. They help me maintain, for keeping the stress levels down. It's always fun to have somebody to, when I come home to, meet me at the door. Even if it's a furry, four-legged animal, they're great.
I chose the Charity of Adoption Options.
I chose the Susan G. Komen Foundation for my Igive contribution.
My charity is Food Bank of the Rockies. A couple of months ago, my dad told me a story of my family years ago where my grandfather would go every morning to Baylor University and pick up their garbage, and they would pick through the garbage for the family, and then afterwards would feed the hogs. And that touched my heart because that was very humbling to see where my family has come from. Now, hopefully, with this giving, another family wouldn't have to do that.
It's really sad when you think in this day and age that there are children going to bed hungry, and I wanted the donation to go to a good cause like this one.
And I feel that Food Bank of the Rockies is a great place to give because there's so many people that are hungry today, and there's so much need.
The Food Bank of the Rockies was an important cause because hunger doesn't discriminate. Delta Dental gave us the chance to give a $1,000 donation per employee to any charity of our choice, and several employees banded together to say we are going to stop out hunger, one child at a time.
Well, Food Bank of the Rockies is 33 years old. It was started in 1978, literally with one food pantry, receiving food from one donor. 33 years later, we were coming off a year in which we distributed 39 million pounds of food to over 830 hunger relief programs. And that's really the core of what our business is. Our job is to go get food, whether that food be from food retailers or manufacturers or farmers, food drives, home gardens, just about any conceivable source of food that you can imagine, we get food from at some point in time in the year. And then obviously our job is to, in this warehouse, bring it in, warehouse it, and then redistribute it to the hunger relief programs as quickly as we possibly can. Well, we plan to use Delta's wonderful contribution of $9,000 in an unrestricted manner to keep fuel in our trucks and the trucks on the roads and the drivers in the trucks so that we can continue to pick up more food and deliver more food to our hunger relief programs.
I chose Colorado I Have a Dream Foundation.
I donated to the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Denver.
Okay, I gave to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the reason is they treated us to a trip to Disney World when my daughter was very sick. My daughter's name was Jennifer. She was diagnosed at 12 and a half with osteogenic sarcoma. She passed away at just right after she turned 15. She was treated with chemotherapy, radiation, and 2 surgeries. And during that time, Children's Hospital contacted Make-A-Wish. They in turn contacted us and paid for a whole trip to Disney World, which was her wish. And it was a very kind of a nice interruption to what we were going through, and we had a great time and a lot of memories from it.
My very dear friend Kay, who is Kaya's aunt, had called me back in May to tell me the diagnosis.
When we came down, he tested positive for a leukemia, and then from further studies he was diagnosed with acute promyelocytic leukemia.
Sometimes I feel sick and I don't feel up to doing schoolwork. And
Kay and the girls and Chuck, his dad, came to stay at my house a couple nights while Kaya was in doing his initial treatments. And so when Delta Dental announced that we were bringing back the Igive this year, that was the first thing that came to my mind, is that I'm going to give in honor of Kaya to the Make-A-Wish.
I want to go to Hawaii.
I think that's great. I've never been to Hawaii, so I'm kind of jealous.
And have you seen the movie Soul Surfer? I want to meet Bethany Hamilton because she inspires me to be strong.
We heard about Make-A-Wish from the social workers, but we didn't really understand how it worked. And when Monica said she wanted to give her donation in Kaya's name, we were excited and we felt very blessed. The prognosis is really good for this kind of leukemia, so we're very hopeful that he'll have a full recovery.
When I grow up, I want to be a vet because I have lots of animals and I love animals.
I contributed to the Children with Diabetes Foundation.
I chose Porter Hospice.
I made my donation to Big Dogs, Huge Paws, and I chose that charity because that's where I adopted my Dane Otto from 2 years ago. They're a really great organization. I really like their philosophy. They believe that once they rescue a dog, that it's their dog for life. So when you adopt a dog, you have to sign in the contract that if for any reason you can't keep the dog, you have to give it back to the rescue. So they make sure that they always have a home. A lot of the rescues that they get need a lot of medical attention, and how big they are, they do eat a lot. Otto eats 10 cups of food a day. He definitely is a member of the family. He thinks he's a human. He's our baby. He is spoiled. Delta does a lot for our community, and I just thought it was really neat that they allowed us to have a personal interest in helping our community by choosing our own organization to help support.
I gave my money to National Jewish Hospital, the Kinsberg School. It's kind of hard when you go to a hospital or go out in the neighborhood and you see kids struggling that really need support and they don't have the support that they need. So that's why I applaud National Jewish for doing the stuff that they do for the kids, because it shows that they care and the kids will get the support that they need.
I contributed to the American Cancer Society, and I did that in memory of my dad because he passed of lung cancer December 5th, 2008. Well, I hope my donation will go towards helping another family. When my dad was sick, he lived in Indiana, I live in Colorado, so I had no idea he was sick, and he chose to hide that and try to not to come to terms with it. So I'm hoping that my donation will help somebody else to be able to see that they need to seek treatment, that there's help out there. If he would have just said something sooner or tried to seek treatment sooner, he would still be here today. So I'm hoping that my $1,000 will go towards helping somebody else so that they'll still be here to enjoy their families and their families to enjoy them.
I chose the American Transplant Foundation because my family, especially my youngest son, has greatly benefited from a transplant. He received a kidney transplant in 2008 and the pancreas transplant in 2009.
My youngest son, Mark, was diagnosed as being a type 1 diabetic when he was 12 years old. When he hit like 34, things became a problem, and his kidneys started failing. And we immediately got onto a transplant list, and it just took a long time. So I was the person that donated the kidney in 2008. When he went in for his follow-up, everything was going really well, and they asked him if he wanted to continue on the transplant list to do the pancreas. We were pleasantly surprised that a year and 2 months later he got the call and received a pancreas transplant in April of 2009. And 1 year and a couple months after his pancreas transplant, he was married to a wonderful person, and they got married in Hawaii. You can definitely make a difference. One of the advantages of the contribution is the medication for transplant patients is extremely expensive. So even 1 month of help will greatly benefit anybody's life that has had to go through a transplant.
My charity that I donated the $1,000 to is the Hmong American Association.
I chose Goodwill Industries of Denver.
I chose the Colorado Railroad Museum. It's up in Golden, and one of the reasons I chose the Colorado Railroad Museum is, one, it's very convenient for us. It's a place that you can go anytime. It's kind of family and history. It's something that we've always shared, and when my son was about 18 months old, we took him there for the first time, and he just loved it. As he got older, we went through Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, and we always had to have different places to go, and that was one of the places we chose. And again, the boys just loved it because they could climb on it. They got to see the history. They got to see outside where trains actually do run. They are right now have been restoring an engine, and it ran over budget. But they have an anonymous donor that if they can make, I think it's $100,000, that the anonymous donor will match that. So when I talked to them, I was hoping that maybe they could use that money, because then it would be $2,000 that went towards repairing that train and getting it to the Colorado Railroad Museum faster. What has happened in the railroad and in the city because of the railroad, the difference of what made the Denver the capital of Colorado versus another little town, and when the railroad came through, I think that's the important part. And we always wanted to stress that with my son and the other scouts, that, you know, you guys have to look back to the past, and you have to know where you're going so that you know that there's been a lot of changes, and that, you know, one person or one little idea can make a big difference in the quality of life for a lot of people.
I gave my donation to Mount Evans Hospice.
Well, I chose the Wounded Warriors organization to give some of my Igive money to.
I contributed to the Rocky Mountain MS Center, and I did that because I have MS, and so it's been a place that's really helped me deal with my disease. Several of the others, though, have people in their lives who have MS, and they care about finding a cure too, so their donations were to support their loved ones.
My cousin Trina has MS and has been battling it for over 20 years, and her daughter Katie was just diagnosed last year.
My son started getting headaches, and they tested for MS, and luckily he didn't. They diagnosed him as not having MS, but they never know until you actually start having symptoms. So I decided I wanted to donate to Rocky Mountain MS Center.
At the Rocky Mountain MS Center, we provide a full continuum of services for people who live with MS as well as their families. We're here right now at the King Adult Day Enrichment Program, which is our specialized adult day program. Standing frames are frequently ordered by physicians for people who aren't weight-bearing. And we now have so many people with that order that we've actually started something we call Standing Frame Cafe. And we have 12 to 15 standing frames in one room, but in order to make that a lot more enjoyable and actually a beneficial process for them, we play Wii. So while they're standing, they might be bowling or they might be doing something else, which also helps them not feel so uncomfortable about standing. Right now we're actually in the fitness center, which is a room where a lot of amazing things happen. What you're going to see here is a man who's been confined to a power wheelchair for 14 years, about to stand up and walk. That man should not be walking, and there is no medical explanation to explain how and why he is. And we just like to think of it as one of our program's miracles. Jack has a will that is phenomenal and a heart. Jack definitely will tell you that it is our 2 exercise specialists and this program that has made the difference and has allowed him to get out of that wheelchair and walk. We're in a new building, which is actually an old school building we've renovated. And so we have developed a terrace and are expanding now our therapeutic gardening program, horticulture therapy. And one of the desperate needs we have is to create just a little bit more shade out there for our clients, as well as extend out some elevated gardening beds so that our clients are going to be able to do vegetable and herb gardening.
I hope this money goes just to help people with MS. There's so many people with MS that are doing much worse than I am, that have severe disability, and they need help. They need programs and services to help them get through life, and we just need to support them in that.
You know, I can't begin to express our gratitude to Delta Dental, and also just how much I admire the management and administration to do such an amazing thing with employees, to really help their employees be philanthropic community members. So we're honored, we're deeply touched, and we are going to put your money and your gift to good use.
The reason I want my $1,000 to go to the Rocky Mountain MS Center is so they can research and try to find ways to be able to treat it.
Then the really exciting thing from my perspective is that at the Rocky Mountain MS Center, starting in January, with the addition of a new research member to our team, we are working on the vaccine. And our medical director has really great hopes that a protein molecule he's worked with through the years might really provide that solution. And that's the end of MS, which means we put ourselves out of business, and that'd be great.
The people of Delta Dental are a remarkable group of people. They're collaborative, they work through really hard things together, and they're an enormously generous group of people. And I want to thank all the employees of Delta Dental for collaborating and working together on everything, but especially this Igive program, which will make a huge difference in our community. Thank you.